AJ Styles is making the headlines after he cut a controversial work shoot promo during the Monday Night Raw commercial break last night, in which he said, quote, "Somebody doesn't want me here." This comes after AJ Styles reportedly put feelers out about potential options outside of WWE before re-signing with the company last year. We've got all of the details on this and more in this news update. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling, and let's begin talking about former WWE champion AJ Styles and more rumblings about a future or lack thereof in WWE. Particularly, Styles is making headlines after last night cutting a promo during the Raw commercial break in which maybe he had some legitimate gripes actually creep out. Now, AJ Styles had some choice words for the WWE Raw crowd during the commercial break of the Netflix stream. Styles is currently feuding with El Grande Americano after he got involved in the Phenomenal One's pursuit of Dominic Mysterio's Intercontinental Championship, and this week on Raw, he was scheduled to face Americano in singles action to score some semblance of retribution. Now, ahead of the bout, during the commercial break of the broadcast, Styles took to the microphone to address the crowd, and he had some interesting things to say. Here's what he actually had to say in full, quote, "For the first time in my career, I've got no one watching my back. Gallows, Anderson, they are not here. Michin is on SmackDown. It's like someone orchestrated a way for me to not win anymore. I'll let you make your own conclusions. By the way, we are here live all over the world, and for everybody, it's a commercial break. I'm going to tell you something you are not supposed to hear, but somebody doesn't want me here. So what we're going to do is you're going to beat the piss out of El Grande Americano tonight, so the person that doesn't want me here can feel some of his pain and mine also." Now, Styles went on to defeat El Grande Americano, picking up his first singles victory in 2 weeks. Of course, this comes after AJ Styles has been posting cryptic things on social media, leading to a lot of speculation about his future. We spoke previously that he put that cryptic picture on Instagram of the sand timer and the Phenomenal One logo in it, and there were comments there saying that maybe he wasn't being booked properly by Paul Triple H Levesque, something that his son actually commented on, saying he agreed with, saying you're not the only one. He later deleted that comment. And further details about AJ Styles putting out feelers outside of WWE have also come to light too. AJ Styles reportedly put out feelers regarding a potential move outside WWE prior to his last re-signing with the promotion. Now, earlier this year, Styles signed an extension with the company to remain with them until February of 2026. However, his future after that point remains unclear, although Styles has previously spoken about retiring from the industry at age 50. John Alba of SI's The Takedown now reports that prior to his extension, AJ had reportedly sent out feelers about the possibility of appearing elsewhere. In particular, AJ would receive a lot of responses from the convention circuit, with it being claimed that it was mutual interest or exploratory for Styles. Now, it's unclear if AJ also reached out regarding possible wrestling opportunities or was just solely looking at conventions. Now, interestingly, as I mentioned, this comes after all of this chatter about his pro wrestling future, so it's led to a lot of speculation. What do you think of AJ Styles' comments in the commercial break? Was it just something to say to generate a buzz? Is there a bit of legitimacy in what he's saying? Is he not happy with how he's being booked and someone doesn't want him in WWE? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. And before we get on to our next news story, a reminder that this video is brought to you in collaboration with all of our great affiliates. You can find all of the details on them in the video description below. They'll also be pinned in the comment section, and throughout the video you'll be able to see them in the sidebar. You can get yourself some great products, you can save yourself some money, and you can support the channel in the process. Now let's move on and talk about another AJ last night on Monday Night Raw. It was AJ Lee. The newly returned AJ Lee will officially team up with her husband CM Punk at WrestlePalooza to take on World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins and Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. We'll talk about that in just a second, but this match was set up in a promo segment on Raw where Lee goaded the heel couple into the match after she stole Lynch's title during her WWE return on SmackDown this past Friday. Lee opened the segment after skipping out with the women's IC title around her waist by introducing herself to those in the crowd who may not be familiar with her. She said she retired 10 years ago after feeling like she had accomplished all of her dreams in wrestling. Lee explained she went on a mental health journey and started to take care of herself by going to therapy. And the former Divas champion even had the crowd chanting therapy multiple times throughout the segment. She said she was fine watching Raw and seeing her husband take on Drew McIntyre, John Cena, or even Seth Rollins, but when Lynch put her hands on her husband, it was another thing entirely. Lee said she wanted to like Lynch, and there was a world where they could have been friends. Lynch's music hit, and she came down demanding for her title to be returned. When Lee wouldn't let the title go easily, Lynch called for Rollins. Lee explained that she'd give the bout back if Lynch agreed to the tag team match. The World Heavyweight Champion told Lee she didn't get to call the shots and attempted to get the title from her in the ring. That's when Punk snuck up behind Lynch before getting in the ring to grab Rollins for a GTS, which he avoided. Rollins then accepted the match and Lee threw Lynch her belt from the ring to the entrance ramp. And indeed, that match is now official for WrestlePalooza. AJ Lee will be competing inside of a WWE ring for the first time in over a decade. Following her record-breaking viral return to WWE and SmackDown, the Black Widow is now going to be returning to in-ring action. It's going to be taking place, as I mentioned, at WrestlePalooza. It's a mixed tag team match. She's teaming up with her husband, CM Punk, to face off against another husband and wife tandem in World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins and Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. Now, another match was set for WrestlePalooza last night on Monday Night Raw, that being a big tag team match involving the Usos. Jay and Jimmy Uso kicked off the September 8th edition of WWE Raw to a massive reaction from the fans in Milwaukee. Before Jay could get much out, Big Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker of the Vision interrupted. Reed bragged about hurting Roman Reigns and his current residency in the hospital. Jimmy Uso wasn't a fan of Reed's comments, saying that he needs to keep Reigns' name out of his mouth. After delivering a few more insults on the microphone, Jimmy Uso mentioned that he and Jay will reunite at WWE WrestlePalooza to face the duo of Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. A few moments later, LA Knight emerged from the backstage area and brawled with Breakker and Reed. The fight spilled all the way out to the ringside area, allowing the Usos to take out everybody but Knight with stereo dives. This would lead to another match being laid later on in the evening. LA Knight would face off against a member of the Vision, but the night wouldn't end good for the man from LA because he was caught with a spear by Jey Uso. Now, the September 8th edition of Raw was headlined by a singles match that pitted LA Knight against Big Bronson Reed of the Vision. Earlier in the night, as we just spoke about, Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso got into an argument backstage about helping Knight if he needed to fend off Bron Breakker. Bronson Reed went on to score the victory over Knight. After the match, Reed and Breakker continued beating down Knight before Jimmy Uso made the save to a great reaction. Then, despite saying otherwise, Jey Uso hit the ring to make the save. After chasing Breakker and Reed off, both Usos and Knight were left alone in the ring. Knight seemed pretty upset with Jay's help, choosing to help Jimmy to get off the mat while leaving him in the corner. This set Jay off, prompting him to take out Knight with a spear. Monday's episode of Raw went off the air with Jimmy and Jay standing over LA Knight in the middle of the ring. Of course, earlier on in the evening, Jimmy had said that Jay was talking a lot like Roman Reigns, something which also didn't sit well with the former World Heavyweight Champion. Now, if you were tuning into Raw last night expecting to see a contract signing, well, you weren't alone, but the signing was cancelled. Now, a few weeks ago on Raw, Naomi announced her pregnancy and relinquished the Women's World Championship. It was soon confirmed that the match to determine the new champion would be Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer at WWE WrestlePalooza. The contract signing for that match was set to take place on Raw last night. However, in a backstage segment during the show, Raw General Manager Adam Pearce met up with Sky and provided an update on those plans. Pearce said that Stephanie Vaquer wasn't able to be at Raw and the contract signing segment had to be cancelled. However, Pearce did say that Vaquer should still be able to have the match against Sky as planned at WWE WrestlePalooza. Now, if we get any more details as to why the segment was cancelled, what's going on with Stephanie Vaquer, the latest update when it comes to their match at WrestlePalooza, we'll of course let you know in a future news video. A bit more of an update here when it comes to the commentary teams in WWE. Wade Barrett has been vocal about his scheduled time off from WWE, and it seems that WWE is similarly not shying away from the news. On Monday's episode of Raw, it was announced that Barrett's now vacant place alongside Joe Tessitore on the Red Brand's commentary booth has been filled by none other than Corey Graves. Tessitore appeared alongside Graves during Raw's opening moments to address the changes to Raw's commentary booth. Tessitore mentioned Wisconsin's rich football history as a segue to explaining Barrett's absence, citing the upcoming football season as the reason for WWE's recent broadcast shakeup. Tessitore claimed Barrett was on a well-deserved vacation before introducing Graves to the announce team. Graves poked fun at Barrett's recent news cycle woes, claiming that he had thought Barrett was exiled to some faraway island, thanks to the online wrestling community. The two proceeded to call the show as per usual. Barrett made headlines when reports of his upcoming WWE absence were released online. Many people began speculating and drew connections between Barrett's absence and his comments around a clash in Paris about WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella. Barrett only added fuel to the fire when he took to X, formerly known as Twitter, to personally denounce the rumour mill. While Barrett claimed his time off was pre-planned and completely innocuous, controversy continued to follow the commentator when he incorrectly credited the news story to PW Insider's Mike Johnson, who took offence to the trash aggregation. Why exactly Barrett has taken a step away from WWE commentary is unclear, and there are no currently verified timelines on his return. Tessitore will be calling the action on Raw with Graves as his partner for the foreseeable future. Whether this will interfere with Graves' position on NXT and SmackDown, it remains unclear. Rusev picked up a big victory last night on Raw against Penta, the first time they've ever faced off inside of a WWE ring. After a brief backstage confrontation with Raw General Manager Adam Pearce, Rusev and Penta slugged it out on Raw in a hard-hitting and high-flying singles match on Monday's episode on Netflix. The finish of the match created some buzz as Penta came off the top rope in an attempt to take down Rusev. The New Day and Grayson Waller then got involved and tried to distract Penta, allowing the super athlete to catch him with his signature match kick in midair, creating a viral moment. Moments after his viral kick, Rusev pinned Penta to score the dominant victory. With the loss, Penta is now on a 2-match losing streak in WWE as he lost to the New Day's Kofi Kingston on the August 25th edition of Monday Night Raw. On the flip side of the coin, Rusev is now on a 2-match winning streak in the company as he picked up a massive victory over Sheamus in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match at WWE Clash in Paris. Bayley. There's so much turmoil surrounding her in her mind, and that continued last night on Raw, didn't it? Because Bayley, just like Randy Orton, is still hearing voices in her head. Bayley said she didn't know what the next step is and doesn't know what good this has done, if it's done anything at all. Quote, "The last person I wanted to hurt is Lyra," referencing Lyra Valkyria. Bayley said she hurt a lot of people in the past, but they mostly deserved it. She believes they forgave her because she's a good person. Quote, "Maybe I just don't know how Lyra can forgive me when I can't forgive myself." A voice in Bayley's head stated, quote, "Are you finished yet? Save it for your diary." Another voice chimed, "I'm really proud of you for admitting your mistakes. Maybe you should talk to her." The first voice told Bayley to move on and do what's best for us. Quote, "What's best for us is to make it right with her," said the second voice. Bayley closed by saying, "I'll make it right." Of course, there's been a lot of vignettes similar to this in the recent weeks, maybe indicating a character change for the former women's champion. If we get any more details on where this is going, of course, we'll let you know in a future video. And finally, several big matches and segments are confirmed for next week's episode of Raw on Netflix. First, the show will feature a big face-to-face confrontation before WrestlePalooza as CM Punk and AJ Lee will meet in the ring with World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins and Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. This comes after Rollins caved to AJ Lee's demands for a match on this week's episode of Raw on Netflix. Also, John Cena will appear live as his retirement tour shifts back to Monday Night Raw. Cena will likely address his upcoming match with Brock Lesnar ahead of WWE WrestlePalooza on ESPN. In addition to that, Lyra Valkyria will take on Roxanne Perez in a singles contest. The bout will renew the aggressive rivalry that Valkyria and Perez had during their NXT days. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak with you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there subscribe or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.